might all remember me from Creepy Places of New England, but now I'm back with a new kind of like show I'm interested in doing called My So-Called Xennial Life. Now, before we go on to episode one, I thought I'd kind of give an update on what's going on with Creepy Places of New England. Some of you may have noticed that there hasn't been a new show in quite some time. I think maybe a couple years, and I lost interest in doing it, which is pretty much what happened. It's not like I still haven't done paranormal investigations in other areas, such as Fort Adams and the USS Salem. I just had no desire to create a new episode like I used to. Steve and I have gone our separate ways, and my life, it just stopped being fun. Besides a lot of kind of I got some really good comments and some like fun comments and stuff, but I got also a lot of nasty comments that, I understand that's the internet. It's what makes the internet so much fun. You post an opinion, post a picture of your cat, and everybody's going to tell you to die or you're ugly or commit suicide. It's the internet. That's what people do nowadays. But mainly it just wasn't fun anymore. I felt like I put so much into it, and it just felt like it didn't really amount to anything. And once it stops being fun, it's time to stop. But and so some of you might have noticed I started putting up like video game content, which was just like just for fun. I mean, I got a PlayStation 4, and I would just post game footage up, mostly relating to like horror, my favorite genre, of course. But as time goes on, I decided, I wanted to do something. I still want to do stuff for YouTube, whether I get views or not, but I just wanted to do it for just kind of like to express myself and, have a little bit of fun with it and stuff like that. So that's why I came up with this idea of my so-called Xennial Life. I keep saying Xennial. I'm trying to like the difference between Xennial, which sounds like, Z, but it's spelled with an X, so it's Xennial. So if I slip, just forgive me. You can, or you can just write in the comments about me dying or something like that. It's the internet after all. But why am I interested in this? Well, especially during the pandemic, I sort of became very nostalgic and sort of reminiscing of my time growing up in the 80s and 90s, and I started joining Gen X groups on Facebook and stuff like that, and which was pretty good because I am technically Gen X. But kind of had a hard time fully relating to them all because I'm a younger Gen X. So some of the other Gen X's were talking about stuff that I didn't necessarily could relate to, especially stuff from the 70s, or talking about doing stuff as a teenager in the 80s, and I wasn't. I was a little beanie bopper back then. And so, but then I found out a term called Xennial. So this is where the first episode is going to start off, called What is an Xennial? So here's the basic idea, and here's a graph of it, okay? An Xennial is a microgeneration born during the cusp between the years of the Gen Xers, which is about 1965 to 1980, and the Millennials, which is about 1981 to 1996. Of course, there's always some leeway with it. Now, I want to add, I have seen some people attack the term Xennial, saying that there's no other microgeneration or cusp generations. But there are actually, such as the cusp generation between boomers and Gen Xers, which is about, I think it's late 50s, or I should say that, sorry, 1960 to 67, I think, somewhere around there. You got to look it up. It's called Generation Jones. And there's also other ones, the swing generation, which is like between the silent generation and boomers. So it's nothing new. Xennials are, so Xennials are, it's not a new thing to have a microgeneration. So it's generally those who were born between 1977 and 1983. I was born in 79, which makes me a young Gen Xer and a, middle ground Xennial. But as somebody puts it, when the original Star Wars trilogy was released, and by the way, love Star Wars, don't care much for some of the newer stuff, but, whatever. Xennials experience an analog childhood, which I did, and in a digital adulthood, which is true, especially when I became a digital, like the internet and stuff like that. It definitely came about when I was a teenager. So, and we generally possess both Gen X cynicism and millennial optimism and drive, which is both true. It makes sense to me. these Cusp generations because I'm not as cynical. I can be very cynical though, but I can also be very optimistic, but not overtly optimistic. So the idea that I'm kind of having like an in between makes perfect sense to me, and I'm making this to sort of connect with other people like me. And it might be more of a nostalgia trip. I might talk about Nintendo, talk about like stuff that I would do growing up, stuff that modern TV shows usually get very wrong about the 80s, and even people from the 80s and 90s, say certain stuff that they're from that time, like boomers and older Gen Xers are just like so full of it. I don't know if they realizing that the stuff they're saying is just bullshit. I mean, granted, but to be fair, we all have had different experiences. So my experience growing up in that era might be different from other people growing up in that era, and I'm hoping to hear from other people. So it might be kind of like a combination of other YouTubers that I very much like. James Roloff, I'm kind of mispronouncing his name, from Cinemassacre, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Pat Contra, Ian Ferguson from the CU podcast, who I really like. Another group of people there, Clownfish TV, who I really like, especially Geeky Sparkles. I think she's absolutely hilarious. Neon's okay, but Geeky makes me laugh. So it's going to be kind of like stuff like that. Maybe not always about pop culture from the time, but just like sort of talking about what us Xennials went through, what we remember, what we did, and so it's kind of like it's really meant to be for fun, okay? And I got some collectibles from when I was a kid. You might be quite surprised what I still have. Some of these things are probably older than most kids nowadays, and maybe some people. So it would just be I just thought it would be just a lot of fun, and I really want to explore it. I've sort of embraced this Xennial label. Now you might be asking, well, Charles, well, maybe you're not asking, but maybe some of you are. Charles, My So-Called Xennial Life, is that a take on that TV show, My So-Called Life? And I would say, why, yes, it is. You see, other terms for Xennials exist, including the Oregon Trail generation, which is a game that, believe it or not, I remembered it, but I've never played it. I remember growing up in the schools, we never played it. In school, I remember playing for education purposes SimCity, but not Oregon Trail. But another one is, some people like to use the term Generation Catalano. I think that's how you pronounce it. Catalano, which is the name of a character from a TV show, Jordan Catalano. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it wrong. From a TV show, My So-Called Life. I remember the show, never seen it, but I know who stars in it. Jared Leto, Claire Danes, all that stuff. But I never watched the show. Maybe because I was always into like science fiction. Like I was mainly watching Star Trek: The Next Generation and Buffy the Vampire Slayer rather than like stuff like that. Even though I did watch 90210 in Melrose Place. So, but I kind of like the name. I often sometimes feel like that. Like, yeah, this is my so-called life. So it might be a bit cynical. It will be a bit optimistic. By the way, if anybody wants to know, right back there, that's gonna get a bigger habitat for him. But I got a guinea pig now named Brownie, who I now take good care of. If you want to know what he's doing, he's eating. What he did an hour ago, eating. And what did he do earlier this morning? Ate. What he did when when he was in my arms, when I was holding him, he was eating. He eats a lot. That's what they do. And Joey is on the bed over there, sleeping. So, in case you want to know, I got Baby Yoda. So, yes, so there will be stuff about Star Wars, Muppet Babies, but then also, like, stuff we used to do as a kid, remembering going to the video rental store, my first time on AOL. But there won't be any set times for me to release these episodes, and they're all going to be sort of like, gets me not ranting, but like talking and stuff like that. So if you don't like to hear people talk, then might as well shut me off, because I don't think I'm the most interesting person, but I'm hoping I say some interesting things and that you might enjoy it. And, and like I said, it would not be no set schedules. I'm just going to be doing this for fun, kind of remembering. I just like remembering stuff. And I hope others enjoy it. And I hope you do enjoy it. And I do expect do expect more episodes from the future as I try to work out the lighting. You know, look at this. My face looks half white, half dark, and then I go to like, I look like a freaking snowman now. Winter's coming, so maybe that won't be true, true. And then if I put it all down, I'm like, ugh. So one day I'll get the lighting correct, but since it's just like me just yapping my mouth, I don't think people are really going to care too much. So anyway, that was a very short intro to episode 1, What is an Xennial, and hope you all come back for episode 2, 3, 4, 5, or however much I'm planning on doing. And maybe one day I'll do some more creepy places of New England and creepy places global, but I'll be honest, don't hold your breath. I have lots of footage of places. I just have no desire to do them anymore. So anyway, thank you. Hope to see you all again and hope you all enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, or however they all say it on there, like subscribe, whatever. If not, that's okay. Thank you.